Have you ever found yourself just completely baffled by someone's actions?
Hmm.
You know, that person whose behavior just,
Yeah.
it defies all logic, right? Creates chaos, leaves you feeling frustrated or targeted, or even kind of wondering if you're the one going a little crazy.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. It's a remarkably common feeling.
It really is.
And often what you're dealing with, it isn't just someone having a bad day or, being an ordinary jerk, as the saying goes. There's often something much more systematic happening.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah.
Welcome to this deep dive into understand these really challenging individuals, often called high conflict people or HCPs.
Right.
Our mission here is to give you a shortcut, really, to recognizing their predictable patterns, understanding the why behind what they do, which can be surprising,
Yes, you're right.
and most importantly, giving you practical tools to protect yourself, your peace of mind, your reputation, even your sanity. We're drawing a lot from Bill Eddy's work. He's a psychotherapist, lawyer, and mediator who's really mapped this out.
He really has. And you might be surprised, actually, at just how prevalent HCPs are. Eddy's research suggests that these individuals, the ones driven to, ramp up conflict and find targets to blame, they make up about 10% of the population.
10%, that's staggering.
It is. That's over 35 million people in North America alone.
And here's the thing Eddy shares that really hits home, almost chillingly. Just one of these individuals can truly, and he uses the phrase, ruin your life.
Yeah.
Think about it. Your reputation, self-esteem, career, finances, even your physical health. If you've dealt with an HCP, you know that's not really an exaggeration.
No, it's absolutely not.
Okay, so if it's not just a bad mood, what really sets HCPs apart?
Well, the core distinction, according to Bill Eddy, it really comes down to a combination of two key things. First, they often have this enduring emotional impairment, what we clinically call a personality disorder.
Okay,
And second, and this is crucial, they have what Eddy calls targets of blame.
targets of blame.
Exactly. These are people they just mercilessly attack, sometimes for months, even years.
Wow.
And often for reasons that are, frankly, minor or distorted or sometimes completely made up.
That distinction feels really important. We're not talking about, like, one bad argument.
No, not at all.
It's a pattern. Deeply ingrained, consistent, damaging. And Eddy identified 4 universal warning signs, right? 4 key characteristics.
That's right. They show up again and again. The first is what he calls all or nothing thinking.
All or nothing.
Yeah. They see only one solution their way. If things don't go exactly like that, they predict, like, total disaster, extreme outcomes. They might even end relationships, long ones, over things that seem incredibly minor to anyone else.
Wow. That rigidity.
Exactly. And it's usually paired with the second characteristic, intense or unmanaged emotions.
Okay.
So you might see sudden, really disproportionate outbursts. Fear, sadness, yelling, just outright disrespect.
Right. Out of nowhere sometimes.
Often. And what's interesting is they might regret it later, or they might fiercely defend it, saying it was totally justified. Sometimes they can even seem calm, rational on the surface, but underneath they're just preoccupied with past victimhood, constantly criticizing others, defending themselves, almost reliving old fights instead of dealing with now.
That makes sense. And their behavior, I guess, reflects that intensity.
It does. That's the third characteristic, extreme behavior or threats.
Okay, so beyond just yelling.
Oh, yeah. It can be shoving, throwing things, spreading blatant lies, abusive words that really cut deep. Or it could be obsessive contact, constantly tracking someone. Or, the flip side, completely refusing contact even when it's needed.
Right, stonewalling.
Exactly. And some of the trickiest HCPs actually use emotional manipulation very calmly. They look cool as a cucumber while they're just devastating someone else emotionally, maybe from a distance.
That sounds insidious.
It really can be. And finally, the most common trait, the one that's often the biggest flag, a preoccupation with blaming others.
The blame game.
Totally. They relentlessly attack, blame, find fault with their target of blame while seeing themselves as, completely blameless, innocent.
And this gets worse online, I bet.
Oh, dramatically amplified online. That distance, the anonymity, it can really embolden them. So if someone consistently shows even one of these signs, it's a major red flag. All 4 regularly. Highly likely you're dealing with an HCP.
Okay, so understanding these traits is crucial. But why is this knowledge so important, like right now specifically?
That's a great question. It turns out our modern world has kind of accidentally created conditions that make us more vulnerable to these dynamics.
How so?
Well, think about how much we move around, meet new people
I know.
constantly.
Yeah, mobility.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So we're interacting in dating, work, new neighborhoods, often without knowing people's histories or reputations. It's just harder to know who to trust.
Yeah, you don't have that long-term context.
Precisely. And that lack of background info is compounded by another shift. Weaker families and communities, traditionally speaking.
Mm.
You know, historically, extended families or tight-knit communities acted like an informal vetting system. They kind of protected people from problematic individuals.
Sort of an instinctual screening.
Kind of, yeah. That communal safety net is, well, it's largely gone in many places. We're often left to figure it out on our own.
That makes sense. And then there's technology.
Oh, electronic manipulation.
Yeah.
Big one. Technology makes it so easy for HCPs to hide identities, mislead people, fake photos, pumped up resumes, those heartbreaking but totally fake sad stories designed to hook you.
Yeah, it's hard to verify anything sometimes.
It really is. And here's one that's maybe more subtle but really impactful. Our entertainment culture.
How does that play in?
Think about movies, TV shows.
Yeah.
How often do we see jerks with clear personality issues suddenly have this big epiphany and change?
Huh. Yeah, the rom-com trope.
Exactly. It completely warps our real-life expectations because in reality, HCPs very rarely change like that.
That's a sobering point. And it's not just the world around us, right? Eddie talks about our own traits being exploited.
Yes, absolutely. Our own normal human tendencies. First, our basic tendency to trust.
We want to believe people, generally.
We do. Research shows we err on the side of trust, especially if someone claims they're a victim and needs help. HCPs are masters at playing that card.
Okay, what else?
Our tendency to trust our emotions. HCPs use charm, flattery, dramatic stories to get us hooked emotionally.
Right, they sweep you off your feet or make you feel incredibly sorry for them.
Exactly. Those strong feelings can be powerful tools for manipulation.
And then there's self-doubt.
Yes, our natural inclination to doubt ourselves. When conflict happens, a healthy response is often, okay, what was my part? What could I do differently?
Right, for growth.
For growth, exactly. But HCPs exploit that. They twist things until you start trusting their reality more than your own gut feeling.
That's scary.
It is. And finally, what Eddy calls groupishness. We tend to overtrust people in our groups, ethnic, political, religious, whatever,
Makes sense.
which can make us blind to HCPs operating right there within our circle. And conversely, we might distrust outsiders too quickly, even if they're perfectly fine.
So these are all normal human things.
Totally normal. But recognizing how HCPs leverage them, that's vital for protecting yourself. It really is a game changer when you see it.
Okay, so we understand who they are, why they're so impactful now. The big question is, how do we actually spot them?
Right. And thankfully, Bill Eddy gives us a pretty straightforward framework for this. He calls it the WEB method.
WEB.
Okay. And once you get it, you'll start seeing just how predictable these patterns can be. WE stands for words, emotions, crucially, your own emotions and behavior.
Words, emotions, behavior. Got it. Let's start with the W, words.
Okay, words, W. You need to train your ear, really listen for specific language, look for those absolute all-or-nothing statements, my way or the highway, I hate everyone in that group, that kind of thing.
Total extremes.
Total extremes. Also that relentless preoccupation with blame and often very clear threats.
Yeah, Eddie had a chilling example of that, didn't he? The lawyer.
Oh, absolutely. It really brings it home. This lawyer gets a message saying, I am going after you with every fiber in my being, and I won't rest until I see you behind bars for conspiracy to defraud.
Wow.
That one sentence, it had all 4 HCP traits. All or nothing, intense emotion, extreme threat, and blame. A week later, the guy shot and killed the lawyer.
God, that's awful. The words were right there.
Stark warning sign, undeniable. So that's words. Next, and this is incredibly powerful, pay close attention to your own emotions.
E, my emotions. How did that work?
Well, think about Gavin de Becker's book, The Gift of Fear. He talks about how our gut feelings often warn us way before our logical brain catches up.
Right, intuition.
Exactly. So ask yourself, when I'm around this person, do I feel uncomfortable, threatened, afraid, anxious, inadequate, helpless, ashamed? Do you find yourself blaming yourself for their behavior? These are critical internal signals. Don't ignore them.
Okay. What about positive emotions? Can they be assigned too?
Yes, that's the tricky part. What about the other extreme? Do you feel too positive? Like, this person is too good to be true, or you're being swept off your feet.
The love bombing kind of thing.
Could be. Or maybe you feel like you're suddenly their entire obsession. Or you feel incredibly sorry for them, like they're this helpless victim. These emotional extremes, positive or negative, are red flags. And Eddy points out something really insightful. If you start feeling intensely negative towards someone else just because this person is talking about them,
Oh, interesting.
that's a strong sign an HCP might be manipulating you into becoming their negative advocate, basically weaponizing your emotions against someone else.
Wow. Okay. So words, emotions. What's B?
Behavior, B. This is about looking for consistent patterns over weeks or months. HCPs tend to repeat the same destructive stuff, like a broken record.
Right. Not just a one-time thing.
Exactly. And a super useful tool here is Eddy's 90% rule.
The 90%? Well,
Yeah. Ask yourself, would 90% of the people I know do this specific thing? If the answer is clearly no, it's a major warning sign you're dealing with something outside the norm.
okay, give me an example.
Think about Tom and Kara again. Kara pushed for marriage within 2 months of meeting Tom.
Whoa. Fast.
Super fast. Apply the 90% rule. Would 90% of people rush a lifetime commitment like that? Probably not.
Definitely not.
Later, Tom finds out she lied about her age on the marriage license. Again, 90% rule. Do most people lie about their age on legal documents? No. These are patterns.
Gotcha. Patterns, not isolated incidents.
Precisely. And to understand their behavior better, Eddy strongly suggests researching their history.
Like Googling them.
Googling is a start, yeah. But also, casually ask multiple people who know them for their honest take. And, importantly, check public court records.
Court records, why?
Because HCPs, almost by definition, often have way more legal run-ins than the average person. It's part of the pattern.
That makes sense. And he had a warning about commitment too, right? About time frames.
A crucial one. Many HCPs can keep their patterns hidden for a few months.
Okay.
But Eddy stresses it's rarely longer than a year, which is exactly why he advises waiting at least a year before major commitments. Marriage, moving in, kids.
Give it time for the patterns to show up.
Exactly. That time frame often lets their predictable high-conflict behaviors come out into the open.
Okay, so we've got the WEB method for spotting signs. Now let's get specific. Eddy talks about 5 distinct types of high-conflict personalities, right?
That's right. And it's key to remember, not everyone with a personality disorder is an HCP. But these 5 types, when they have that compulsion to escalate conflict and target people, yeah, they're the ones who can really disrupt your life.
Okay, so we're going to go through each one.
We are. We'll hit the core essence, the key markers, and how to manage them. Don't feel like you have to memorize everything now. Think of it as a guide you can come back to.
Sounds good. Before we dive in, maybe quickly recap the dealing methods. We had WEB for spotting.
Right. And for dealing with them, we use the CARS method.
CARS.
It stands for connect, analyze, respond, and set limits. And within that respond step, there's a golden rule called BIFF.
BIF.
Keep your communication brief, informative, friendly, and firm. So WAB helps you spot them. CARS BIF helps you manage them. Those are your secret weapons.
Got it. WB, CARS, BIF. Okay, first type.
First up, the narcissistic HCP. Often the I'm superior, you're nothing type.
Okay, sounds pleasant.
Yeah. Their absolute core trait is seeing themselves as vastly superior. This leads to this deep sense of entitlement.
Right, special treatment.
Special treatment, exactly. And a real lack of empathy. They often insult or demean people, sometimes very publicly. They don't really form authentic relationships. They use people to get admiration, status, whatever they need, and they can be masters of seduction initially.
There are different kinds.
Eddy mentions 2 main flavors. The vulnerable narcissist who flips out with immediate anger if their flaws get exposed.
Okay.
And the grandiose narcissist who might seem calm when criticized but will plot calculated revenge later.
Ooh.
Can be. Which leads to Eddy's crucial tip. Never publicly humiliate a narcissist, even if they totally deserve it. The backlash can be severe and dangerous.
Good tip. Any examples that come to mind?
Well, we mentioned Jason from Jun's story earlier, his arrogant texts hinting at a darker pattern. And think about Lance Armstrong.
How?
Right? Not just cheating, but publicly trashing his critics. Telling one guy he wasn't worth the chair you're sitting on, he later admitted ruining lives. Classic narcissistic HCP behavior.
Okay, so spotting them with WB.
Right. Words. Arrogant, dismissive, belittling, entitled. They divide the world into winners and losers.
Mm-hmm.
Your emotions might be fear, feeling inadequate, helpless, or, conversely, you might feel amazed, swept away by their charisma, that too good to be true feeling. Big question. Are other people worried about how much you admire this person?
That's a good check. And behavior.
Behavior, often aggressive but justified in their minds by their superiority. Ignoring rules, public insults, zero care for others' feelings. Use the 90% rule. Would 90% of people respond to criticism like Lance Armstrong did? No way.
Okay. How do you avoid getting tangled up with them?
Proceed slowly, whether it's dating or work. And crucially, don't over-flatter them. They'll just see you as easy to manipulate.
Makes sense. And dealing with them using CARS.
The R in CARS is respect. That's key here. Even if you don't feel it, acknowledge their position or effort somehow. When you respond, BIFF, be firm but always respectful. And when you set limits, Eddy suggests blaming external factors, your schedule, company policy, not their behavior. They hate being told no directly.
Okay. How about getting away from them?
Carefully, strategically. Never say it's their fault, but don't blame yourself either. Focus on different styles or changing goals. Keep expressing respect. Eddy says don't make it a big emotional drama. They hate rejection and might retaliate. Calm, strategic exit.
Got it. Okay. Type 2.
The borderline HCP, the love you, hate you type.
The emotional roller coaster.
Exactly. Hallmark traits. Intense fear of abandonment leading to clinging behavior, followed by wild, rapid mood swings. Friendly 1 minute, raging the next. They also do splitting, seeing people as all good or all bad. And they get preoccupied with revenge for perceived slights, even minor ones.
Are there different flavors here too?
Eddy mentions unconventional borderlines, maybe successful professionals, but chaos in close relationships and conventional types. Think Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada.
Good example. Charming mentor, then terrifying boss.
Totally. And the real-life example, Tom and Cara. Intense courtship, quick marriage, then sudden false accusations, constant fights, Cara splitting friends into allies and enemies. Classic borderline HCP pattern.
Okay. Spotting them with WE.
Words, lots of all or nothing, everyone always abandons me. Intense anger or fear about others, and that quick switch from idealizing someone to devaluing them. Big warning. What they say about others, they might say about you down the road.
Ooh, good point. Emotions.
Your emotions, maybe extreme initial positivity, feeling swept away, really excited, then later feeling disrespected, pressured. You might even catch yourself denying their bad behavior because the initial positive feelings were so strong.
All right, you make excuses.
Exactly. Eddy mentions an example of a slight slap on the butt early in a relationship. Minor boundary push, right? But 90% of people wouldn't do that. It signals a potential pattern of escalation.
Okay. Behavior.
Behavior. Pressuring for quick commitments is a big one. That boundary violation example fits here too.
How to avoid them.
Extreme caution in new relationships. Don't get pressure. And importantly, don't overcare or promise you can fix all their problems. You can't.
Right. Dealing with them via CARS.
Emphasize empathy when you connect. Even just, wow, that sounds so frustrating. But don't get sucked into their battles. Offer choices that gently steer away from drama. Use BIFF for clear, stable communication. And be absolutely consistent with limits. Stay calm, moderate. Avoid language they'll hear as abandonment.
Tricky balance. Breaking away.
Often needs to be done in steps. Gradually phase out. Keep showing empathy and respect, but be firm. Don't expect thanks or try to argue them out of being upset. It won't work. And if they get dangerous, safety plan. Maybe involve lawyers or police.
Okay, that's heavy. Type 3.
The antisocial HCP. The cruel con artist type.
Okay, this sounds bad.
Yeah, these folks routinely violate rules, laws, often with zero remorse. They're deceitful, driven to dominate. They lack a conscience, and some, disturbingly, might actually enjoy hurting people.
And they can be charming, right? That's the scary part.
Incredibly charming. Eddy says that's often a huge red flag right at the start. They lure you in, maybe with a sob story, then exploit you. Think Ted Bundy.
Right, the broken leg story.
Exactly. Using charm and vulnerability to lure victims. Or Paul, the reformed prisoner, conning his church. Or Bernie Madoff charmed everyone for decades. Their charm is a weapon.
Chilling. Spotting them with WE.
Words. Watch out for, trust me, big red flag. Seductive flattery, compelling victim stories, but also harsh, cruel words to shame you. Inconsistent stories that make you doubt yourself, maybe vague talk about top secret activities to cover up shady stuff. Your emotions. Could be extreme excitement, promises of wealth, adventure, or irrational fear, feeling stupid or ashamed for even doubting them, feeling isolated from your friends and family, feeling like prey.
Like prey. Wow.
Behavior.
Behavior. Often a history of extreme actions, enjoying court battles, a pattern of rule breaking like unpaid tickets, asking you to put yourself or your money at serious risk, refusing to take no for an answer, isolating you. Again, 90% rule. Absolutely not normal behavior.
How to avoid them.
Learn to say no confidently. Don't be overly helpful to strangers you barely know. Always check things out before committing anything.
Due diligence. Dealing with them using cars.
Connect by respecting their efforts, maybe like Paul's initial turnaround, but don't over-empathize with their sob stories. Emphasize choices and clear consequences. It's your choice, but if you do X, you'll probably go to jail. Use BIF for their lies. Stick to facts. Set limits based on rules, policies, not feelings. And be ready to get outside help, lawyers, police, because they often skirt or cross legal lines.
Okay. Breaking away.
Sounds dangerous.
It can be. Do it very carefully. They hate being dominated or rejected. You might ease out step by step, or maybe a sudden break, but only with strong backup. Definitely have a safety plan.
Okay, next type. Number 4.
The paranoid HCP. The highly suspicious type.
Okay, so always thinking someone's out to get them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Their core fear is betrayal, deception, conspiracy. This deep suspicion makes them launch preemptive attacks on their targets because they're convinced others are trying to harm them.
Right, they strike first. Examples.
Albert Lassiter, the deputy marshal planning war on his neighbor over imagined burglary plots, or Monica, the employee making endless, baseless claims of harassment and sabotage against her coworkers and boss. They ruin lives because they think their lives are being ruined.
Got it. Spotting with WE.
Words. Extreme language about trustworthiness. You can't trust so-and-so, I just know it. Conspiracy theories, they're whispering about me. And a little skepticism is healthy, right?
Yeah.
But look for patterns of excessive, unfounded fear.
Right. The pattern.
Yeah.
Emotion.
Your emotions. Feeling deep discomfort from their huge overreactions. Feeling pressured to agree with their suspicions. Noticing actual visible fear in them when there's no objective threat.
And behavior.
Behavior. Engaging in confrontations over perceived threats. Accusing colleagues of bizarre things, stealing, poisoning in unlikely situations. 90% rule. Do most people prepare for war with a neighbor? Or make endless, baseless accusations at work? No.
How to avoid getting sucked in.
Keep emotional distance, don't over-engage with their danger stories, and crucially, don't try to convince them they're wrong. They'll just add you to the conspiracy.
Right. Dealing with cars.
Test the waters with connection, but don't challenge their paranoia directly. Quickly shift to analyzing their options. Use BIF to offer other perspectives neutrally. That's unusual. There are usually several explanations for things. Set limits based on policies, rules, not your feelings. Joe firing Monica was a necessary limit.
Breaking away.
Carefully, gently, maybe in steps if possible. Avoid direct criticism. Focus on your changed circumstances. My time commitments have shifted.
Okay. Last one. Number 5.
The histrionic HCP. The dramatic accusatory type.
Okay, drama quinking.
Essentially, yeah. They're driven by an intense fear of being ignored, so they have to be the center of attention, often by creating dramatic stories about their targets.
Right.
Their speech is theatrical, exaggerated, but often lacks details. They misjudge relationships, thinking people care more than they do, and they blame others dramatically.
Examples.
Amy's mother, Nadine, accusing Amy of murder, faking health crises, false rape claims in an ambulance, extreme stuff. Or the mother who lost custody, chronic drama, neglect, drug abuse, zero self-reflection, always someone else's fault, always dramatic.
Wow. Okay, spotting with WEB.
Words. Extreme, all-or-nothing statements about everyday things. Heightened emotional tone. Sharing dramatic secrets they then immediately gossip about.
Emotions.
Your emotions, a powerful urge to just escape the conversation, feeling overstimulated, burnt out, trapped by their endless stories, feeling guilty for wanting to get away from someone who seems so distressed.
That's a tricky one. Behavior.
Behavior. Theatrical, maybe seductive movements, quickly blaming their upset feelings on specific people, spreading rumors, overreacting to minor stuff as extreme trauma. 90% rule again. Do most people react with that much drama to everyday life? No.
How to avoid getting caught in their web.
Recognize their emotional responses are way out of proportion. Don't overattend to the dramatics. Change the subject, disengage quickly. And key point, endlessly listening doesn't actually help them. They don't get relief from just telling the story over and over.
Right, it feeds the drama. Dealing with cars.
Connect with empathy, but for a limited time, like 5-10 minutes, max. Then analyze by offering choices that shift focus away from the drama towards solutions or other topics. Use BIF for their aggression or exaggeration. Keep it factual, calm. Set limits focused on desired behavior. Please tell me some positive news. Otherwise, let's talk about something else.
Setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Breaking away.
Needs prep and persistence. Maybe plan with a counselor. Practice responses. Have a care plan if they depend on you. Be calm. Be persistent. And like with borderline HCPs, don't expect thanks or try to talk them out of being upset. It just pulls you back in. Okay, so beyond the HCPs themselves, Eddy talks about something really important. Negative advocates.
Negative advocates, what are those?
These are people who get emotionally hooked into the HCP's story. They adopt the HCP's opinions, their emotions, without doing any independent research.
They take the HCP side completely.
Exactly, and they end up enabling the HCP's dysfunction, often attacking the target of blame themselves.
Who are these people typically?
Could be family members, often fiercely loyal, even against the facts. Could be friends, neighbors, coworkers. They might be swayed by accurate info if presented calmly. But here's the kicker. Even professionals.
Professionals, like therapists, lawyers.
Yes, lawyers, counselors, ministers, doctors, they can get emotionally hooked or overstep their role. Think of the Duke lacrosse prosecutor, Mike Nafong, ran with false allegations, huge negative impact.
Wow. So how do you deal with them?
It comes back to CARS, especially the connect and respond BIFF parts. Share accurate info calmly, no anger, no defensiveness. But Eddy adds a caution. If it's a legal case, always follow your lawyer's advice on who to talk to.
Good point. And the flip side, how do you avoid becoming a negative advocate yourself?
Crucial question. Maintain healthy skepticism. Always. Don't get pressured into taking sides or fighting someone else's battle, especially for an HCP. Because if you don't fight strongly enough or if you start questioning them, they will turn on you.
Right. Okay, so what about getting help if you're the one dealing with an HCP? It can feel really isolating.
Totally isolating. But Eddy's core message is, it's not just you. Millions go through this. HCPs twist everything, make you feel alone and confused.
So who can help?
Look for people who understand bullies. Good counselors, experienced lawyers, sometimes police. Specifically, seek professionals trained in personality disorders, like folks who use dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, especially for borderline patterns.
How do you find the right professional?
Interview them. Ask specific questions. How much experience do you have with borderline, narcissistic, or histrionic personality disorders? And critically, have you ever had a client who seemed like a target of blame for an HCP?
See if they really get the dynamic.
Exactly. That helps find someone who understands the unique, often baffling situation you're in.
What about family and friends? Can they help?
Absolutely. As positive advocates, guide them. Ask them for encouragement, resources, just to listen without bad-mouthing the HCP, and definitely without speaking for you unless you ask them to. And set boundaries for them, too, so they don't accidentally become negative advocates.
Right. What if someone just doesn't get it?
Yeah.
Doesn't understand the situation?
Don't argue. Eddy suggests trying the 3 theories of conflict to gently open their mind.
The 3 theories.
Yeah. Theory 1, person B says A is bad and A really is the HCP. Theory 2, person B says A is bad but B is actually the HCP, projecting. Theory 3, both A and B are acting badly, maybe both have HCP traits.
So it shows it's not always simple.
Exactly. It helps people see the complexity beyond just he said, she said. It can be really eye-opening.
That's useful. Any other tools for explaining it?
Yes, the 3 threes. If you need to explain an HCP's behavior, describe 3 patterns of behavior with 3 specific examples for each.
3 patterns, 3 examples each. Why so specific?
It shows the consistency and severity. Remember Angelica, the secretary? She explained her boss, Dr. Rogers, by detailing 3 patterns. His angry outbursts, taking credit for her work, and his fake nice guy image. She gave 3 concrete examples for each pattern.
And that helped.
Big time, and helped the ombudsman see the consistent, damaging pattern, not just isolated incidents they might otherwise dismiss.
Okay, we've covered the what, the how. Let's get into the deep why. Why do HCPs exist, and why does it feel like maybe their numbers are growing? Eddy has a theory, right? Starts with the brain.
He does. A really compelling theory. It starts with the brain connection. Basically, our brains have 2 main systems for conflict. The relationship brain, right hemisphere, quick crisis response, gut feelings, and the logical brain, left hemisphere, complex problem solving.
Right brain, left brain stuff.
Kind of. And the bridge between them, the corpus callosum, is key. Now, what's fascinating and disturbing is research suggesting repeated child abuse can actually damage this bridge.
Wow. Damage the connection.
Yeah. Making it hard to shift from that reactive crisis mode to logical thinking. This could explain the rapid mood swings, the faulty logic we see in HCPs.
So the CARS method tries to bridge that gap.
Exactly. It's designed to calm the reactive brain first, to create an opening to maybe reach the logical brain.
Interesting. What about nature versus nurture?
Eddy calls it social DNA. Personality disorders definitely have a genetic component. He estimates 40–80% inborn traits.
That high.
Yeah. But they're also profoundly shaped by early life. Abuse, neglect, maybe even overindulgence, insecure attachment. Antisocial personality, for instance, seems to have one of the strongest genetic links.
Okay. And he had that provocative idea about wartime personalities.
Yes, wartime personalities. It's a thought experiment, really. He suggests these HCP traits, antisocials as warriors, narcissists as leaders, borderlines as protectors, paranoids as lookouts, histrionics as crisis responders, might have been adapted for survival in harsher, more conflict-ridden times.
So they're only disorders in our peaceful society.
That's the provocative idea, that maybe these aren't inherently disordered, just mismatched for modern cooperative life. It's fascinating to think about.
It really is. How does culture play into this? Our modern world.
Big time. Cultural influences. Think about high mobility, individualism, the 24/7 media that often highlights extreme behavior.
Right, rewarding loudness sometimes.
Exactly. Eddy argues our world might be inadvertently teaching and reinforcing high conflict behaviors. He even points to leaders like Steve Jobs, incredibly successful, but showed clear HCP traits like all or nothing thinking, outbursts, blaming.
But he had people to manage him, right?
He did, a whole system around him. It raises questions about what behaviors our society actually values and promotes, even unintentionally.
So what's the absolute core problem for HCPs, according to Eddy?
Fundamentally, it's a profound lack of social self-awareness. They just don't see their impact on others. They misjudge moods, misread cues, see adversaries everywhere.
And their patterns actually work against them.
Totally. Their very behavior prevents them from getting what they say they want, connection, respect, whatever. It leads to depression, anxiety, and, tragically, often fulfills their worst fears. Like, the borderline HCP fears abandonment, and their actions drive people away.
Wow. A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, in many ways, yes.
So this brings us back to us, the listener. What's our power here?
Your power lies in two things: personality awareness and self-awareness. This whole deep dive, that's been about building your personality awareness, learning to recognize these patterns in others. It's not intuitive. It's a learned skill.
Right, you have to know what to look for.
Exactly. And just as important is your self-awareness. Regularly checking your own behavior after conflicts. We all have some minor HCP traits, right?
Sure, nobody's perfect.
Nobody. But the key is noticing if they become a pattern. Ask yourself, okay, what was my part in that interaction? What could I do differently next time? It's not about blaming yourself. It's about learning and growth. Breaking the cycle. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. We have really covered a lot of ground today, unpacking this complex world of high conflict people, hopefully giving you tools to spot them, avoid them, and skillfully manage them when you have to.
Absolutely. This knowledge really is empowering. It helps you protect what's truly important in your life: health, sanity, finances, reputation, your family. It's about being wise, strategic, not just reacting blindly or getting totally sideswiped.
And I think understanding that HCPs likely didn't choose these patterns, that it's this complex mix of genetics and environment that allows for maybe a bit of compassion.
It can, yes. Compassion from a distance, perhaps, while still knowing you absolutely have to protect yourself. It's a really nuanced balance.
It is. So maybe a final thought to leave folks with.
Well, in a world that seems increasingly driven by loud voices, by drama, by conflict, perhaps the real sign of a successful civilization isn't just wealth or progress, but our collective ability to recognize, understand, and skillfully manage those who thrive on conflict. Transforming chaos into calm. One relationship, one interaction at a time. So the question for everyone listening is, what will you do with this new wisdom?